All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GB today. Today we're gonna do a movie review on Nosferatu. All right. Well, as we usually do, in every video that we do, we'll get Jared to kick it off.
Oh yeah, I definitely do that. So, as you all know, you know that we just watched the new Nosferatu. I'm definitely good at this.
Yeah.
Nosferatu. And I think all of us could agree that we liked it, didn't hate it, but didn't love it, I guess.
Mhm.
Pretty accurate.
What else, Jared? Keep going.
Uh, Shout out to freaking Johnny Depp's daughter. I didn't know he had a daughter. She was amazing. Crazy. Like, yeah, I reckon she just stole the whole film. That was a really good performance, like just full batshit craziness, and very cool.
What else, Jared? Keep
What else?
going. I
What
mean,
else?
you're
It was a. I think the dead language was kind of hard to get around, but like I was still able to get get most of the story. Like it was like it wasn't too complicated, which was good. Just got straight to the story. And I think everyone did a good job of like it actually felt like they're all from that time. Like even we did that review and movie trailer review of Craven, where we're on that actor for a bit, and he did surprisingly well in this. And like a lot of people give him shit for some stuff, but yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I really liked him. I reckon he played that role perfectly, where he's just playing just a goofy drunk having a good time. I mean, well, that was in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, what movie are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Well, I mean that.
Be drunk.
Yeah, he was a drunk in the
You drunk?
beginning. He played the drunk in the beginning, didn't he?
No.
He was drunk in the beginning. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
having a few
See,
brewskis.
told ya.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
drunk at a party. It doesn't make him a drunk.
Nah, he's
Yeah,
definitely an alcoholic.
he was definitely an alcoholic. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah, well, yeah, he played the role. He played a really. It'd be kind of hard to play his role. I swear, every scene he was like, act like you're angry, confused, and like sad in the same time. 11 out of 10, and the whole movie's just like, like, yeah, he played that well. All right, Mitch, your turn.
It's my turn. Yeah. It's the follow through of Robert Eggers with the tradition of doing a lot of films with a very similar kind of aesthetic look. He definitely doesn't hold back when it comes to the visual styling of his films, and that's probably, in my opinion, the best thing about this one. Again, he stages it in the Victorian kind of goth era, but with a kind of twist. Like, in terms of the original story of Nosferatu, I'm not 100% clear on it whether he stayed more accurate to the original source material or if he had some of his own creative influence on it. But I loved the whole backlot story of, and they kind of do this with Bram Stoker's Dracula back in 1904, where modern day illness and science was always kind of mirroring all the supernatural superstition kind of stuff. So, like, the logical conclusion to all this weird horror phenomenon was blaming on the plague, blaming on some kind of illness, blaming on the city's poverty and all that stuff as this kind of backdrop on the setting of this conflict between good and evil and all that stuff. So again, I'm not sure if that is from the source material or if that was Robert Eggers' take on it. But honestly, that for me was the most appealing subplot throughout this whole thing, where we get to see this whole city overrun with the plague, basically, which was a thing that happened back in that time period in Germany and England, all over Eastern Europe, like. And Jared's having issues with his internet.
I'm back.
You're back. Yeah, again, the visual storytelling. I think my favorite part of the whole film, in terms of the narrative, was when I think you could call him basically the main character, because a lot of the plot is forwardly driven from him. Is Nicholas Holt's character, and depending on if you're going from the Nosferatu or the Dracula adaptation of the books, his character's name's different. But I think he's from what I know, his name's Harker, so that's what I usually relate with him. But everything that he did when he visited Transylvania, that for me was probably my favorite part of the story in terms of the visual story, because there was some really cool psychedelic kind of choices of filming in those sequences, and I kind of wish the whole rest of the film had the same kind of vibe.
Mm.
But I understand why they didn't do that. It was because basically he's getting closer to the source of his evil, pretty much the source, like getting closer to hell when he visits Dracula, or in this case, Count Orlok's castle. So that Robert Eggers deliberately chose these kind of really intense, kind of static frame choices, which he always does in his films, and it really left me on edge. I was always waiting for the jump scare when there wasn't really ever a jump scare, but it left me in that state of anticipation and all that. And whether or not that was director's intention or not, yeah, I think he did it beautifully. Saying all that, as Joe put it, I could not love the film as much as the previous films, because as big a setup as it was, I did not like the payoff of this movie. I felt like it felt flat in the final outcome, the final confrontation with Orlok and his supposed love interest. I just felt like, I don't know, all this big build up for this final confrontation, like I said, good and evil, and without giving any spoilers, I just felt like the final act it felt very flat, to say the very least.
Yeah, I see that.
Should we add like disclaimers, spoilers?
I'm not going to say
I think
anything that's going to give away the plot. Like anyone that knows the basic story would probably understand where I'm coming from. But yeah.
Yeah, like you said, some of the shots that they got basically from the original movie were done really cool.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
really.
that was a good example right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Silhouette of Dracula's shadow. I keep saying Dracula because I'm used to saying Dracula, but in this version, he's Count Orlok.
Yeah, so
Orlok OC.
some of the shots they did really set the vibe in the movie. It was really cool. Like all the black and white parts of the movie, I liked a lot. Every time it was black and white, it was like a good vibe. And then they would show the colored scenes, and I found the colors a lot of yellow. It's like it's either black or white, or it was yellow with like light. I just didn't. I don't know. I didn't like the colored scenes. I felt it was a little bit. It wasn't the same movie.
Yeah,
It
like
seemed like more of a
I think
drama, more of like a kind of a cheesy TV drama when the colored scenes come in. But when it was black and white, it really set the vibe.
Yeah, true. Like I noticed that as well. Like sometimes it would just be, especially if it was nighttime, it would just be full. I don't know. Like I have to see it again. It felt like it was like full point black and white. But I think the whole movie was in color, but like just some scenes were just like more darker. So it's like they're like muted colors. But yeah, I could see what you
Really?
mean. Like it was just kind of like.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a part
Pretty
where it was
sure.
true black and white, but it was definitely like a desaturated to like a dark blue, navy blue, gray kind of tint to it.
That's
Some of the
True.
areas.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's as close as you'll get to it being black and white and all that stuff. So fair enough.
Yeah, I wonder if when they filmed those scenes, did they actually use the old cameras? 'Cause honestly, I feel like that's kind of a new thing that people are going to start using. Is they're going to actually start recording with like old cameras and stuff if it suits it.
Well, it's not something that has not been done before. Like there's a lot of directors that choose vintage cameras. Like Quentin Tarantino, he doesn't like digital cameras. He still uses old, I think it's 8mm film print and all that stuff. So it's not something that has not been done before. I'm just going to quickly look it up right here. Nosferatu used. They used an Aracram LT camera, so with a variety of lenses. So that's basically a modern camera. So yeah, a lot of the magic of this film definitely would have come with the editing, and which is absolutely fine. It just leaves much more creative choice. You know what I mean? There's probably multiple different versions of how this movie would have looked in terms of the color scheme, and they definitely would have eventually chosen one at the end of it. But you'll probably see a different version of a different color grade in years to come, different director release. It happened before in a lot of films. But yeah, back to the cast. I completely forgot that Bill Skarsgård played Count Orlok in this until the credits started rolling, and I was like, "That's right." And probably kudos to the set department and whoever was his stylist and whatnot, the prosthetics, because I could not recognize Bill Skarsgård at all in his look and appearance. Saying that, I
know you're gonna say.
there's
no one
again,
liked
trying
it.
to avoid spoilers and whatnot, but there's a certain facial feature thing of his
Yeah.
that I did not really care for.
Nah.
It kind of dissuaded my fear of the character because of this thing on his face. So yeah, I felt like they could have chosen a better styling for that. that's my 2 cents on it.
Well,
Actually,
this guy.
funny that you mentioned that with the Orlok. I think I talked about it after the theater. That said, like, I was just kind of like what Mitch was saying before, how we first meet him, when he's in that dream sequence with him. I was like waiting for a jump scare, but I was just like really on edge. I was feeling that as well, but then like just after a while, I don't know what it is, but I feel like the more someone talks, like the more a villain talks, that a villain. Oh, I'm having a brain fart of an ass. I think because I've seen all those pictures and clips of him in the silent film, I just automatically assumed that he would just not speak at all. So when he was speaking, I was like, oh, okay, like that. Then he was like talking more, and I was just like, oh, shut up, you're ruining it. But it didn't fully ruin it, but it
ruined it a little bit.
I don't know. Ruined it a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
Sounds fair enough. I think I felt that way at the very end of it when he started talking to and I've forgotten the character's name, apologies. Hutter, I believe her character. Ellen. Yeah, like when he started getting all more deeply talking with her, I was like, oh, sometimes it's better not said, but visually told in the manner of speaking.
Yeah.
So I totally get where you're coming from. You kind of lose sight of this thing being this demonic figure when all of a sudden it just starts speaking English, in direct path of something. So yeah, I think I can totally get that. Like, I always use the previous example of Bram Stoker's Dracula that Francis Ford Coppola directed, because arguably it's probably the most known of a lot of the Dracula films, but it's also the most romanticized out of all of them. So in that version, you have a Dracula who's very suave, who's very charming, very handsome, and eloquent, and all that stuff. So when it comes to speaking, he gets away with it because of that's the style of Dracula they go with. In this one, where there's a few moments where he's, touching on his past, touching on his curse, to the point where you're supposed to feel sorry for him. It's just like, I did not ever feel that way, because we've already set him up to be pretty much the devil in this version of the film. Thanks to a brilliant performance by Nicholas Hoult, who pretty much sets up the fear of what this being is meant to be. In the presence of it, it's supposed to be absolute terror. So when the second half of the film comes along and he's directly talking to Ellen, whether it's through dream sequences or director or whatnot. It's just, yeah, at that point, it's just, just be scary. Don't be that. And yeah. So it kind of loses me at the third act of the film, to be honest.
Yeah, if the original movies, okay, let's say there's never been a Dracula movie, and this one came out, would you be like, oh my god, this is like a really good movie, or would you still have the same complaints?
If this was the first time we ever got introduced to Dracula, aka a vampire film, I would have left the cinema very confused. Because
Really?
the movie relies heavily on us understanding the lore and the nature of vampires, so it doesn't need to give us that exposition, so to speak. Especially that final scene that I am referring to. Like,
Right.
if no one understood the law and rules of Nosferatu or vampirism, everybody would be leaving that place going, well, that was easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Now, like, I think what Josh was saying, like, yeah, true, the sun thing, but I feel like there's like the first time, for example, I don't want to put it onto it much, but when I first saw that season of Stranger Things, when that monster like kept talking, I think if you guys know what I'm talking about, was it the last season? He was like that
Season
human,
4.
and he was all burnt up, and all he just kept on saying was like, "Maxine, I'm very scary. Maxine, I'm gonna kill you, Maxine," like that. It's like what was I going on with this? Yeah, just like a thing like that, like expecting this Dracula not to speak at all, like that. I'll still kind of feel the same. Not like he's not that scary to like, I kind of wish he shut up more.
Yeah, it takes you out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Like, and I think Edgar Boy, he's done some good things. What else besides Lighthouse has he done? Because it felt very Lighthousey.
His very
Not
first.
too like copy.
No, that's all good. His very first thing that was pretty much the standout was with Florence Pugh, called The Witch. That's what got him noticed. And straight after that, he did The Lighthouse, which skyrocketed him. And then he followed it with one that most people don't really know about. And I don't know if that's because of poor marketing, but it was my favorite from him, which was The Viking. No, sorry, The Northman. The Northman with Bill Skarsgård's bigger brother. Can't remember what Skarsgård is, but he's the biggest of them all.
Alex.
Yeah,
Skarsgård.
That's the one, Alex. Yeah, and yeah, that's my absolute favorite from him so far, Robert Egger.
I haven't seen that one.
It's awesome. You'll love it.
Yeah, I'll have to.
It's epic. It's the old true revenge story, but set with the Norse mythology in the background.
Oh yeah.
And some psychedelic moments too, because it goes into Viking culture, to which a lot of Viking culture relies on psychedelics and have these weird dream fantasies and whatnot. So it gets pretty deep. Anyways, scratching that, that's a topic for somewhere else. Do you have any final words for Nosferatu?
Yeah. So I do like how you can tell there was a lot of effort put into making the movie. It wasn't just another formula bullcrap. Like they put a lot of effort into basically everything they did. So I appreciate that, especially these days where a lot of movies are kind of just like bland and like it takes them 2 seconds to make a movie. I feel like they actually put effort. It's one of those movies that actually took like a few years to make, maybe, or like they actually put effort into it. You could tell if a movie has effort or not, and I do feel the effort. It was just some of the story points. I agree. Like the third act was a bit. Yeah, it was a bit iffy on the third act, but I do like the effort they put into the movie. You could tell they put a lot of it because it was like it was like a 3-hour movie. Like they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to make a 3-hour movie. They could have just made an hour 40 movie and it would have been fine. But I do appreciate they put a lot of time and effort. And it was a good 2.5 hours. It was a long movie, and you kind of just got absorbed by the vibe that that whatever you said before, Mitch. It was the Victoria 1800 Victoria Gothic. Like if you like,
Industrial age kind of
yeah,
look.
if you like that vibe, then it's a good movie because it just gives you that vibe the whole movie. Yeah. So overall, I liked it. I'll give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. Better than a lot of the trash these days. That's saying something. Anyway, how about you, Jared? What do you give it? What's your rating?
On Letterboxd, I gave it 3 stars out of 5. So
Okay. Yeah, yeah. How about you? How about you, Mitch?
Final thing for me is the performances that carried the whole film. Didn't really touch on many of them, but Nicholas Hoult, I think, killed it. Willem Dafoe, even though he's not Van Helsing in this, but I'm used to calling him Van Helsing. He killed it. So those particular roles, I'll give it. Oh, I'll probably push it to a 7, even though I kind of want to give it a 6.5. But yeah, just on the performances alone, they carried the weight of the film.
Yeah.
Even like you said, Aaron Taylor-Joy. And one thing I have to mention, the actress that played his wife in it, I think she played Anna Harding. Yeah, the whole film, I was like, I've seen her before, and I realized that she plays the villain in bloody Wolverine and Deadpool. She's the bald-headed actress in that.
Oh.
It clicked to me like an hour after seeing the film. So to go from that to this, it's a stark contrast. So I'll give credit to her as well, even though she had probably the smallest role of all the key characters. She still nailed it out of the park. So yeah, I'll be looking out for her in future projects. So yeah, all that said and done, I'd probably land just on a 7 out of 10.
All right, cool, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that was a spoiler-free review of Nosferatu 2024.
Sort of.
Sort of. God damn it.
Sort of.
We
Make
actually.
a little fun now where the spoilers are.
Yeah, I guess,
A little
but
disclaimer in the video.
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
spoilers, but it kind of hints to what we're talking about. If
Yeah, no,
anyone's
I was
following
listening.
it.
I don't think there was any spoilers in there. Like the closest thing we got to a spoiler was probably where Mitch mentioned the third act. No, what was it? There was a little part in there, but even that wasn't really spoilery. I lost my train of thought. Thank you, Jared. I love it. Oh yeah. Should you go watch the movie? I think so. I think it was a good movie. Pretty good movie. It's worth your money. Yeah, it's probably the best movie out so far. I've looked at all the movies. Everything looks like crap. So, if you're going to watch something, watch this for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we'll see you next time on the GBs today.